Welcome to our series, Dyin,
Cryin,
and Lyin on Two Luckies,
the podcast. This is a series where we rewatch Little House on the Prairie, a show that we loved when we were kids, and we give our perspective on it as adults.
As adults, and I must say, watching it as an adult has been very different.
It's been extremely different, and we found out that their plots tend to have three main categories. They are either dying,
They're crying,
or they are
lying.
lying. And we figured out that they have 2 out of the 3 categories every episode. So if you want to know what it's like to sit in the car with us and have us tell you a story with categories, you're about to find out. So buckle up. Here we go. For Two Luckies, the podcast presents Dyin,
Cryin,
and Lyin.
Lyin.
Season 2, episode 15, A Matter of Faith.
We start off at the Ingalls farm and we see the whole clan pulling up the road and pulling up in front of the barn. Everybody's offloading, and while Ma's trying to get out of the wagon, she accidentally stabs her leg with a piece of wire that was secured to the side of the wagon.
On the inside of the wagon.
On the inside of the wagon. Very concerned that she ripped her only pair of stockings.
Or her best pair of stockings.
Best pair. Yes, and Chaz, don't worry, I'll get you a new one. I should have taken this wire out, and yeah, you should have. And then things get even better when they go inside the house, and Carrie's sitting there with a busted jar of something on the floor, her and the dog, and that's our Carrie report to start off with. Yay, Carrie!
Yay, Carrie!
She's sorry.
And she really was more concerned with her clothing than...
Yeah, so
than
far,
anything else.
Things have not started off well for Ma.
No, and the reason why she was doing all that stuff in the first place was she got a new lampshade, and she figured if anybody was going to break it, let it be her. Charles had offered to carry it for her, but she took it. We've seen this one before, so we know where this is going.
We know what's coming.
We know. Reverend Alden pulls up to the Ingalls farm in a buckboard. Usually he's in some kind of enclosed carriage thing. This is the kind of open-aired, like 2 benches kind of wagon kind of thing. And Ma gets voluntold, which is your way of saying she got volunteered, but really she got told that they were supposed to be raising money for some church that they were building someplace else. And Reverend Alden informs her that they need pies for her to bake because they didn't come up with enough money to raise this church. So now she has to be baking when the family was going to be going on a trip to do a whole bunch of different things. And then they went back and forth.
Yeah, it was weird. He said something about picking up bacon and ham.
Yeah, and they mentioned some place named Stoddard? Or something like that. The place we've never heard of before. But I guess the family has had a trip planned, and they were going to be dropping by this supposed new church that was supposed to be up there. But then they found out that there wasn't enough money, and now she got voluntold that she needs to do some baking. So then they were talking about maybe changing the details of the trip or going at a different time or something like that. But what it turned out to be is now Charles is going to take the children and he's going to go on this trip that they were going to go on as a family anyway. And now Ma is going to stay home and do the baking for this church because they need to raise funds.
Yeah, and it needs to be fresh, and she needs to do it without children underfoot.
Yes, and she's going to need to be baking on Saturday when she should have been traveling with her family, and that on Sunday, Reverend Alden and I don't remember who is going to be stopping by, and that she could ride in to meet the family.
Mrs. Foster,
and then she could ride in with them to meet the family, and oh boy, are they setting us up.
Boy, things aren't looking too good for Ma right now.
No, and you don't realize what's coming, but something's coming.
Nighttime at the Ingalls, and we got Pa and Ma laying in the bed, and Pa's reading something.
He's reading a newspaper, I thought, or something like that, an article.
Yeah, maybe it was a newspaper. Ma's just kind of sitting there with this grin on her face, and he's beside himself, really, as he's reading this story about a couple in Springfield who went someplace and then came back and found their place cleaned out. What's this country coming to? You better keep the doors locked while we're gone, while we're here. And boy, she is just like beside herself with giddiness.
She really is. I mean, she was smiling from ear to ear, especially while he was saying, "You're going to miss us, right? You're going to miss me. You're going to." I mean, my goodness, like you can't exist a day without her. Like. Thinking about
she's looking forward to a day by herself, even if it is just baking all day.
Right, because she gets to do something she's actually really good at baking and cooking. She's known for it.
So morning time comes and they're loading up the wagon, getting ready to go, and she comes outside with that grin still on her face, gives Chaz a fresh baked apple pie.
And supplies.
And
the Carrie report, she was the first one in the wagon.
But she was the only one that didn't get a goodbye when
Ma
they left.
did not kiss her goodbye. She kissed Laura on the lips. She kissed Mary on the lips. But I did not see Carrie get a goodbye. And Jack the dog is in the wagon too. So she is actually
alone.
Well, I was thinking alone, and then I thought of they have the cow and the chicken. So she's not technically like she's got animals with her, but she is no other human contact.
So as they pull away, and she is just giddy and full of glee, and she walks over to the stream, sits down, takes her boots off, puts her feet in the water, and that's when we see the cut on her leg.
Which is bigger than it was when we first saw it.
Bigger than it was, so what does she do? Throw water on it. And I'm thinking, maybe that's not the best idea. But...
Yeah, well, no, and then we know in this instance it definitely isn't, but we're about to get into it.
We'll see.
Yeah, she's baking right now. Now, in the middle of all this baking she's doing, she realizes that her leg is tender. Like, it looks swollen now when they show it. She's touching it and it looks swollen. She takes a hunk of bread, and I don't know if it was water or milk, but she just reaches with her bare hands, unwashed, grabs a hunk of bread, and then in this pitcher of water or milk, she puts the bread in there, and she squeezes it out so the water goes back into it so that the sanitary conditions, boy, I'm telling you, things have changed over time since the 1800s because nobody seemed concerned about any of this cross-contamination stuff. And she slaps this wet bread on her leg, and she takes a piece of cloth and she ties it around, and it's a bread poultice, which I guess is, it's folk medicine, and she's very good at it. She's very good at doing natural remedies. She knows how to use things that she finds around foraging. It is a valid thing. Doc Baker shows up again in an open carriage. Now, usually he looks like he's got his regular carriage without the top on it.
Yeah, I think the top was missing.
But I just find it interesting that usually Reverend Alden and Doc Baker show up in covered way. I don't know why that just stood out to me.
Maybe they're just trying to change it up for season 2.
They're trying to give us a little extra something here.
Pizzazz.
Well, he comes up. He notices that she's flushed. He says, "Do you always bake in your bare feet?" I mean, because she's over there like suffering like from the heat, thinking that it's because she's cooking inside. Which you have a wood fire when you're cooking inside. I'm sure it's very hot to cook that way.
Well, at least this time she had the stove. She had a real cast iron stove. Remember the Christmas present from season 1?
Yes, the one that Laura ended up getting when Charles thought that he had his present delivered.
She wasn't using that box that's off on the side of the fireplace.
Well, and the fireplace again is
it's out.
It's out. Like the fire is out in that. But he does notice, he says he's going to take a look at it. And of course, true to form, they got to give us some kind of a trouble here. Somebody comes up, races up on the horse. Their son fell out of the loft and broke his arm. And they need Doc Baker to come immediately because she was trying to get him to come in and have some milk and some fresh blueberry pie because she has been baking all day. And we did notice too, she put all the pies to cool under towels outside, and neither one of us knows why that happens.
I can't imagine why you would do that. Why not just leave them inside? It seems like the bugs would get to them.
Yeah, I don't get it. So but that was a thing that people used to do. They used to put it out on the windowsill or put it out on a shelf. And if you know the answer, actually know the answer, leave a comment because I'd like to know. I don't really feel like looking it up either. I don't want to ask AI, and I'm not looking to do no Google search because you can't find anything on that anymore anyway. So if you actually know the answer as to why people put pies outside, let us know. I'd like to know.
And I will say, it looks like they're trying to lead us down the road to one of our categories.
Oh, they're getting there, but they're being a little slow right now, but they're getting there.
Doc Baker is out patching up the kid's arm, the one that fell out of the loft. And we forgot to mention earlier, the whole reason that Doc Baker came to the Ingalls farm in the first place is that he needed Chaz to fix one of his wheels.
He had a squeaky wheel.
Squeaky wheel. And as he's wrapping up out at this other farm with the kid with the broken arm, we find out that there's a storm coming and it's currently raining out, and he's trying to make his way back to Walnut Grove because he had still a couple of stops to beat, one of them being Ma. And the father of this family out there says, oh, you ain't going nowhere, especially with a wagon in disrepair like you have, or you're going to ruin your wheels. So he ends up staying there, which kind of brings us back now to the Ingalls farm where Ma's sitting inside. It's nighttime, it's raining hard, and she does not look good.
She really looks like she's struggling, like she's holding her head. She looks like she's feeling weak, like she really looks like she's feeling unwell.
Sweaty. And then to complicate things, all of a sudden you hear a bunch of mooing and a cowbell, and it looks like one of their cows got out of the barn. So what does she do? She goes outside, tries to wrestle this cow back in. No luck there, but next thing, everything is blurry, and then she collapses right to the ground. They was saying she's lucky she didn't drown with her face down in all the water.
I mean, this rain is really coming down. The cow, the more she pulled one way, the cow pulled the other way, and then once she was laying on the ground, then the cow just walked into the barn. So, like, it was like the insult to the injury, but we were talking about this, like, this has escalated very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, this was all the same day. It went from a little scratch to all of a sudden you pass out.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, wait, wasn't she scratched the day before, though? She was scratched.
Oh, yes, she was.
She was scratched. We're all thinking that this was happening all on the same day, but she was scratched the day before sometime during the daytime because the sun was out.
So figure maybe 36 hours.
Yeah, I mean, because like we're thinking, well, just from this morning she looked fine, but this morning it was a smaller scratch, but it's had some time.
Though, at the rate they're going, they are leading up to the category of
Dyin.
But we'll have to wait and see if that actually happens.
Yeah, I mean, she's really not doing well. But so far, everyone has been very honest in this episode.
It can't last.
This has been an honest episode, and not even the little boy with the broken arm was so brave he didn't cry. So they have been very slow on our categories, but it's a good story anyway. You'll see. Well, Ma with Carolyn, because she's by herself, she is really struggling here. She comes to on the ground. She is soaked through to the skin.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is blurry. She gets herself back inside. She's got a very, very small fire. And while she's peeling all of these wet clothes off, they show us that this is looking very infected. Her poultice has come off her leg, and she's looking really like she's struggling. And then we go to where Charles is with the kids they're outside, camping outside on their way to do whatever this traveling was that they were doing. This happens over and over and over again, and I don't understand it. They live in the environment all the time.
They live in the wilderness.
Yes, he's supposedly a farmer, but for some reason, while that old man with the kid with the broken arm told Doc Baker, look at those clouds, you can't go anywhere. There's a belly whopper, galley whopper, whatever he called it, on the way. He knew just by looking at the sky what the conditions were and telling Doc Baker, don't go out because you're not going to be safe. For whatever reason, Charles cannot seem to predict the weather. Maybe it just wasn't loaded into his psyche or whatever, but he is always caught out in the rain.
He can't predict the weather, and he can't farm either.
He can't farm. He's under this wagon, and instead of having cloth or the tarp or whatever it is in some kind of a triangular shape where the top part of it is up in the middle is the up part so that the water could sheet off of it, he makes it so that it ends up like a bowl and ends up dripping water, like it's gathering water instead of shutting it off, and then now it's dripping all over them. It put out their fire. I mean, even Mary was saying, I wish I was home with Ma. He thought that Ma was having such a great time, and she's over
time
here
of her life there.
She is over here on the brink of Dyin, and they're over there thinking she's having a great time. This woman is having a problem here, and no one knows it.
And I hope you don't forget that little point that Chaz had to make because of the couple in Springfield to make sure you lock the door. Now people can't get in to help her.
They can't get in to help her, and she has no electricity. She has no communication devices. She has no phone. She has no internet, no tablet, no laptop, no whatever to contact the outside world. Unless somebody comes to her, this is it.
This is shaping up to be a real belly whopper.
Like that's door.
So Ma's laying in bed. It looks like she was able to fall asleep, but the way they're panning back, you can see the sweat beads on the forehead, and they're really showing that she's not doing well. And she's having some kind of a nightmare, and when she wakes up, she's yelling, Chaz! And, of course, he's not there. She gets up. She even tries to climb up into the loft, calling for the girls, and she must be really out of it.
She's kind of delirious.
She's by herself. So what does she do? She goes over, she starts a fire in the wood stove.
Or she looked like she was going to be starting a fire in the cooking stove.
Yeah,
but
the
she
cooking
starts,
stove.
She starts burning newspaper and then reads that article about locking the door as the paper is burning.
Right, so then she's looking around. There's all kinds of thunder and lightning happening, and she's like going into, looks like kind of a mass hysteria.
Yeah, she was like panicking.
And she runs out, locks the door, and then she closes the window, and then they finally brought us a category of crying. 'Cause she is out of her mind with worry, but she does get a hold of herself, and she manages to sit in front of the fireplace and put a new wrap on her leg. And while she's trying to read the Bible, all of a sudden her vision's blurring out, and she looks totally delirious.
She's having a really hard time here. She's really struggling with this, and she deserved that crying because this is a really kind of crummy situation.
Things are not looking good.
And one thing that I've noticed, and I'm going to say it, every time she gets time to herself or is supposed to have some kind of holiday, some kind of tragedy befalls her, and I find that kind of crummy.
Yeah, that is true.
I do, because she deserves a day to have rest just like everybody else. I feel like it's a little subliminal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that cow Ma had been wrestling with overnight, that just walked to a neighboring farm and started eating the flowers of the lady that lived at that other farm. And when the son at that farm finds the cow and says to the father, hey, doesn't this look like the Ingalls cow? She needs milk and I could bring her home and be back, And the father says, no, serves them right. We're going to go get the bucket. We're going to milk this cow and they'll have to come find her themselves. Now, if that kid had been able to go over there, this could have all been avoided because he would have been able to get Doc Baker because now it's sunny outside. But Ma wakes up in the chair. Was sitting in front of the fireplace. And when she looks down at her leg, it looks terrible.
It looked like a huge crater.
This looks like she needs a hospital and like a surgery team and a whole bunch of like something going on here. But she is by herself in a locked cabin with the shutters drawn, and no one right now looks like they're coming. So she's really pickle.
It's not the first time they've shown people of Walnut Grove acting like dinks.
Right. I mean, let's face it. I mean, it made me wonder, okay, does this cow show up over there a lot? That this guy was so aggravated about it? Does he have something against the Ingalls that he was like, serves them right? I mean, he was really kind of grouchy about it. Yeah, and I think he was more worried that his wife was going to be upset that her flower bed had been eaten by the cow than anything else. But like, it was really kind of it was an interesting reaction.
That's the feeling I got from it. It's acting like a dink.
But it was necessary to the story.
We're at the pig farm where the Chaz family is, where he's picking up his bacon and ham. And the girls, Mary, Laura, and Carrie, are playing with a baby pig. And Carrie really wants to take this pig home, and they're trying to tell her, no, you can't do that. And then we switch over and we see Pa, who's loading up the wagon with all the cuts of meat. They go over and Carrie asks them if they can take the pig, and he says, no, we can't do that. And we find out Mary threw him under the bus and said, doesn't need his mic, you feed him with a bottle. And they said he needs to stay here till he grows up. Well, what happens when he grows up? And they did a Lyin. Thank you. You finally hit a category.
Well,
he's going to find himself
Cryin and Lyin.
a woman pig, and they're going to run off and be happy. That's not what happens.
No, and that was our little Carrie report because she wanted to bring the Piggly Wiggly home. That's what they had her calling this little pig.
So they think they're going to be meeting up with Ma at wherever it was they were heading to. So this is going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting. Reverend Alden shows up with Mrs. Foster.
Yes.
With Mrs. Foster to pick up the pies, and that fear-mongering newspaper caused a big problem because she locked the door, and when Reverend Alden's trying to open the door to just come in like they normally are able to, apparently, because he seemed like this was a normal thing to just turn the knob, and he's saying, Carolyn,
they were
Carolyn.
supposed to be picking her up.
Well, and they got no answer because she had shut the shutters also. They thought she went with the family. How? They left like...
Yeah, there was 12 pies on
There were 12 pies out there. They're smelling the pies. It looked like Mrs. Foster kissed one of them. I don't know what was going on with that. They're talking about how much money they're going to make off of this. And then while I'm watching her crawling across the floor thinking about Titanic, right, when she was like, help, with that little voice, or and then they're playing like the music from Psycho, the heavy strings.
Yeah, it was kind of creepy.
It was. Huh? It was like they were playing like horror show music. She crawls over there. She can't get there in time. They're already are pulling away in the wagon, and wagons were loud at the time. The sound of all of the equipment in a wagon and the horses' hooves and everything was loud. She takes the rolling pin and throws it at the window and breaks the glass, which, I mean, really, for her to do that was kind of a big deal because glass was very expensive. It's expensive now. It's very expensive then, and really expensive and hard to get. She's unable to do it, and she lays back down on the floor, and she starts crying, which I agree with you because this really sucks. She's stuck in a terrible situation. Why? Because she found herself with some time to herself. Thank you, writers. You like to make it sound like women can't do anything on their own without having disaster befall on them when they're alone.
So we're seeing the little house, and the barn door is just swinging around in the breeze. Ma is really not having a good time.
This is terrible. I mean, she's going downhill quick.
She's just barely pulled herself up to get into a chair, and then she sees keys laying on the table, and she's got to try and get over to the door, unlock it, and she does. Goes out and gets some firewood.
And she is dragging this leg, which looks...
her
whole leg from her knee to her ankle now is looking like it's part
horrible.
Of it's infected.
But she did get the firewood. She's got the fire going. Looks like she was boiling water, boiling something, and she soaked a rag in it, and she dropped this steaming hot rag on her leg, and she looked like she got hit with about 1,000 volts of electricity.
I will give her credit. She did an extraordinarily good job at... You believe that she is struggling with this illness that she's having, this big problem.
We know that third category is just knocking on the door.
Well, and she treats it like it's coming. I mean, she really did a good job, I think, in this episode of acting like... because we know she's actually well, but acting like she's really being harmed by this cut that she had. And I was impressed by the way she did it. She did a really good job.
She did.
So we find ourselves over at some river or some watering hole or something like that. Charles is already in the water, and they're swinging on a rope. Where Carrie and Jack went, I have no idea. They are nowhere in the scene. You can tell Mary's hair had been wet before, and they dried it, but they didn't dry all of it.
Right.
And she says, I don't want to get wet, because Laura just launches herself in the water off the rope, But Pa does a Lyin when he says, I'll catch you. And then he crosses his fingers, fingers crossed in front where Laura can see, and says, I'll catch you right about here. And then Mary, of course, trusting him, goes out and gets completely soaked and then says it was fun. But those kind of scenes just are filler for me, and they kind of aggravate me sometimes, especially when they do that fake laughing.
We had the Chaz chuckle going on there.
He calls it the Charles chuckle, where he's like, But we go back to Ma. Now she's reading the Bible in some passage about how if your hand offends you, cut it off, or you're cutting off your feet. And she goes, I mean, she is really dragging this leg. She is suffering from this infection, is raging. And she goes over with some very tense, very horror movie-like music, and she gets a knife that, since I already know what's going to happen, I can already tell that they've done this scene more than once because the knife looks like it's already been heated up, but you'll find out. But she is going to... I mean,
she's going to do something.
They're looking like she's going to do something really drastic here, and they're setting us up for it. But they have set up a lot of tension in the scene after showing us how the kids and Charles are having just a grand old time.
Oh, yeah.
And then they have to somehow be all presentable and dried off before the Reverend shows up. It's like, then wouldn't you? Why did you do the rope in the water thing first? But either way, that's what we got for you.
We're at the watering hole, and we finally found Carrie and Jack.
Yes, we got a Carrie report. She's playing tag with Pa and her sisters and Jack.
Chaz has got the blindfold on, and he's running around with the kids, and they're having a grand old time. And then we see Reverend Alden and Mrs. Foster pull up and talking about how well they did, and they should be proud of their mother. And then they finally realize, where is Ma? Oh, I thought she came ahead with you. No. Well, she wasn't there, and right away, Reverend Alden. Oh, I don't think there's anything to worry about.
He does that a lot, where he just kind of like, if somebody's worried, he tells them not to be.
Thank goodness he had some common sense to say, ain't like her to do that. I'm gonna go back and check on her just to be sure.
Yeah. So, attaboy, Charles.
So, way to go. So we're gonna find out if he gets there in time.
Well, he left the girls and Jack with the Reverend Alden and Mrs. Foster, and then now he is taking the buckboard that they showed up in, Reverend Alden, and he is on the way home. And now we are paused at the knife laying on a towel. So she is getting ready to do something pretty drastic here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Now, Carolyn's sitting in a chair in front of the fire. She's got this knife in the fire. She's heating it up. And she's making herself a tourniquet. It really is looking like she's looking to take this leg off.
Oh, yeah.
Which, thankfully,
it's a dire situation.
It is a dire situation, but so she's in the middle of doing that, and Charles is coming back, and he goes past that guy who found the cow, and this guy's waving him down. It's about time you showed up. And he has no idea what this guy is talking about. He's been away with the girls. He has no idea what's going on. When he finds out that Carolyn did not come looking for that cow, he takes off with those horses. I mean, they were going around corners like practically on two wheels.
It was like Bonanza.
It reminded me of Bonanza. I mean, the cloud of dust they made probably took about 2 days to settle. They were going around every corner as fast as they possibly could. He leaps off the wagon pretty much before it's even, stopped. And he comes bursting in through the door. And she is laying on the floor, which I wasn't really expecting that. But she's laying on the floor. So we're not exactly sure what's happening. And now we're paused with Laura looking in through the window from outside, and Doc Baker is tending to her. So thankfully, the knife hopefully wasn't used, but they haven't really told us yet because he found her laying on the floor.
We're about to find out.
Yeah, let's find out.
So the scene is shown from outside looking through the window, and we see Ma's lying in the bed, and Doc Baker's finally there, and he's doing the Doc Baker treatment, wiping off the forehead.
Yeah, but he does that patting thing to make sure the makeup doesn't come off in between.
And then we slowly pan outside where we got Mary, Laura, and Chaz, and we showed a trifecta of crying because they all think Ma's gonna die, and they're
they were crying while they were talking about dying.
Boy, they were slow on the categories, but here we are coming up near the end, and a bang pow.
Yeah, well, I was wondering where Carrie was, and the Carrie report is when Charles comes in while he is still crying, he sees Doc Baker.
Reverend Alden.
Sees Reverend Alden in the rocking chair cradling Carrie, who looks like she's sleeping, and you can see the look on his face because not only was he there earlier in the morning and failed to assure that she was okay before he took those pies away. He also told Charles, there's no reason to be worried. Meanwhile, she's in that bed close to death over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he's kneeled down over by her bed. He's praying while Doc Baker's doing the mop the forehead routine.
Yes, their regular
everybody's
tropes.
Got their fingers crossed.
And Charles is in the season 1 shirt.
Oh, yes, season 1 shirt.
He is in the season 1 shirt while they are bringing all this drama to me, you, and everyone else.
Let's see how it unfolds.
Woohoo! They show us a sunrise, and then we pan over, and Charles had prayed so hard by the side of her bed, he fell asleep with his head against the bed, kneeling. And they do that thing where the hand goes, Ma's hand reaches for him, and he does that blink awake thing like, oh my gosh, doctor, I think she's awake. And then he starts crying because he finds that Charles is crying because he finds out that her fever is broken and everything is right with the world again. They brought it out for us again as everybody's allowed to go back in there, and we're told that if she hadn't just, cut into that and released that infection out of her leg, and how did she know? And only God knows the answer, because for some reason this family that wasn't in reality really that godly has just been bit by religion in the middle of the show. Sometimes sometimes you need to let out all of this drama that they put us in. So I get a little loud about it, but everything wrapped up neatly and tidily, and everything is right with the world. And now that everyone is back, she's safe again, and now she'll be healthy, because we know that apparently Ma is not allowed to have time off to herself ever without some kind of thing befalling her. And that's all that this really taught me in life was...
So we did have the Cryin.
We had Cryin.
We had a wee bit of Lyin.
We had one Lyin, just one.
We were on the doorstep of
Dyin the whole time. Pretty much the whole episode.
They brought it to us.
They did.
So make sure you join us for the next episode, which is called The Runaway Caboose.
Yes, and we remember this one, but I don't think I've ever seen the whole episode of that one.
It's a good one.
All right.
And that concludes this episode on Dyin,
Cryin,
and Lyin on Two Luckies. The podcast.
We release these weekly, and there's a whole bunch of them out already, so go check them out.
We'll see you the next time.
We're out.
Two Luckies, the podcast.
Two Luckies, the podcast. Two Luckies, the podcast.
You made it to the end.
Woohoo!
Yeah!
Yeehaw!
You go!
Yeah!